Can we give a hand to our worship team today? I thought that was awesome. Very awesome. Now the boring part. But this Christmas season, I've been preaching some tough messages. And I thought, you know what, for Christmas, I'm going to make it even tougher. So I won't be offended if we have to have people leave. I understand. It can be difficult. One of the questions I've been wrestling with this year, 2020, is how can it be that you can have two good people, decent people, have a lot in common, and yet when they look at the same event or look at the same thing, they apparently see two very different things. Do you notice that? This year, I think it's come to the fore almost every time there's any kind of news article or any time anybody has to think about something. For some reason, we're able to look at the same thing and see something totally different. Now, a lot of people think that, well, what we have is a problem of information. You've got two people seeing two different things. That means one of these people doesn't have enough information. And so the world over and over again right now is just, and everybody in it is apparently, their goal is to beat you over the head with some kind of information that apparently you don't have because you're not seeing things the way I'm seeing things. And if you knew everything I knew, then we'd be in total agreement and we'd see things exactly the same. But I don't think it's a problem of information at all. I think the problem is we're looking at the world with different sets of glasses. We have these glasses on us. Now, if I'm looking at something with these glasses, you like these glasses? Thank you. I need to do something. Pastor Michael comes up here and I'm like, Pastor, you're making me look bad, man. So I got these glasses. I had my goal was that the church would not realize kind of what a schlub they had on their hands, but now I got these glasses. But if I'm going to look at the world through these glasses, I almost have a headache. I can't keep these on too much. If I'm seeing things through these glasses, things look a whole lot different to me. And you could give me all the information in the world, and I'm going to look at the thing, and I'm going to go, no, it's red. It's red. And you're going to look at it through a different set of glasses, and you're going to go, why in the world are they not seeing things the way I'm seeing them? And then it's this war of information and who has the best information. And I'll give you this, and hopefully if I give you enough information, then you're going to understand. It's not the problem of information at all. It's a problem of what type of glasses are we all wearing. There's a word for these glasses that every single one of us wear, and the word is worldview. Every single one of us looks through the world, through our worldview. I don't know if you ever heard that word, worldview. Worldview just means, well, it means what it says it means. It means how we view the world. Everybody has one. Everybody has a set of glasses, even if they don't realize they have it. And you and I, like it or not, our worldviews aren't exactly the same. Our set of glasses are a little bit different. The prescription's a little bit different. Some of us are tinted a little bit different color. Now, I've been talking, it's Christmas time, and I have been talking about Christmas, and I will talk about Christmas. But one of the big problems with Christmas is the problem I've been addressing this Christmas season. And it's one of the big problems that we seem to have with Jesus in general. And that is, we like Christmas, and we like Jesus. So what we do is we try to fit Jesus into our worldview. We just try to stuff Christmas into our worldview, and we're apparently not being convicted that maybe the goal is not to stuff Jesus and look at him through your glasses, but rather you have a problem with your glasses. One of the things Jesus came is to give us a new way of looking at things, give us a new worldview to look at things. And if we're just going to keep our old worldview and look at Jesus through our lenses, we aren't seeing the real Jesus. We're seeing a distorted image. If we're just taking a little piece of Christmas, I like this piece. I like the part about the presents and the goodwill and be nice to everybody and the Christmas spirit. All that stuff sounds nice. If we're just looking at those things, we're not seeing real Christmas. Christmas means so much more than just the nice things that we tend to like about it. Now, a worldview can be a very dangerous thing for the very reason that we don't realize we have one. a lot of the times. We don't realize we're seeing the world through our own perception and our own filters. And our worldviews and our ideas and our philosophies may seem inconsequential, but they have real world consequences. Our ideas and our worldviews shape the way and transform the way we think about ourselves. They transform the way we think about others. They transform the way we think about the world, and they transform the way we think about God. And if we have distorted glasses, we're seeing distorted pictures of all these things. And one of the biggest differences in worldviews that are out there in the world, and the world has many different worldviews it wants to offer you, many different sets of glasses it wants you to try on. And one of the biggest differences in worldviews is how we end up seeing ourselves. The set of glasses that you're wearing, that you look at yourself through, it really can wreak havoc on how you view yourself and how you see yourself and how you feel about yourself. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to share with you God's worldview about you and what Christmas has to do with it. I want to share with you how God sees you, not how you may think God looks through your glasses, but how God sees you. And to do that, we're going through the Old Testament this Christmas. And I want to share with you the very first time we hear anything about these humans in the Bible, and that's in Genesis chapter 1, the 26th verse in, and I'll just read it to you. It says, "Then God said, 'Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground.' So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, 'Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground.' And God said, 'I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it, and they will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food.' And it was so. God saw all that he had made." This is the end of the sixth day of creation, before he's about to rest. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. There's the first we hear about humanity in the Scriptures. And I want to share that because it says a few very important things about you and I and everybody else walking around on the face of the earth, every other human being we have in contact. And that is, we are apparently created in the image of God. That's a very powerful thing. It's a very important thing. And the Cliff Notes version of what that means is not that God looks like us. God forbid. You know. Some of you, maybe it would be better than others. But God, it's not that God looks like us. It's that God, we are here on earth to represent God in this earth. We are his image in this earth. We read through the Old Testament. One of the things that the Israelites and the followers of God were not supposed to do is never make an image of me. Don't make any idols. Don't make any images. Why? Because God says, I've already made an image of myself. It's you. It's your job to be my representative in this earth. And what do I want you to do here? I want you to take care of the earth the way I would take care of the earth. You be my representatives here. You are my image. And God says, at the end of the sixth day, after he creates humanity, at the end of days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, he says, and it was good, and it was good, and it was good. And then he creates humanity. And notice he creates them male and female in his image. Right? It's not one over the other. It's male and female in his image. And then God says, after he does that, now it's very good. Now, that may contrast a little bit with how you tend to see yourself. Chances are you probably don't see yourself as God's representative in this earth. Chances are maybe you don't look at yourself and think, it is very good. Maybe you do. Some of you do. But this offers a different way of seeing ourselves than the rest of the world. It offers a different worldview than the big prevailing worldviews of the day. And there's two major rivals to God's worldview in the world right now, at least in our country, and that's what I'm familiar with. There's two major worldview rivals to this. The first major worldview that you're going to hear out in the world is that you are just a byproduct of indifferent random chance. There were some electrons bouncing around and some proteins, and that's really, at the heart of it, that is what you are. And your value is really nothing more than just the atoms that make you up. That's one of the prevailing worldviews of the day. And boy, when I first heard that worldview as a high schooler, I thought, that's right. That's what I want to live my life by. Life is meaningless. For some reason, that really excited me. So this is a headline, and I'm not making this up, but scientists at the Foundational Questions Institute just a couple years ago say they have figured out and discovered the meaning of life. Now, I don't know why this wasn't headlines. I don't know why they didn't run with this and say this, but a couple years ago, they announced, we have discovered the meaning of life. And I'm going to read it word for word for you, what the meaning and purpose of life is they discovered. You ready? Now, this is the gospel of that worldview. Every worldview has a gospel. Every worldview has good news for you. Here's the good news of this first major worldview. Ready to hear this? The purpose of life is to hydrogenate carbon dioxide. Doesn't that give you doesn't that warm the cockles of your heart to hear that? The purpose of life is to hydrogenate carbon dioxide. Now, that just rings true, doesn't it? Don't you hear that and go, yes, that's what I've been waiting for. That's the answer. But that's what science, and I love science, by the way, I'm not disparaging science, but if science is all you have, that's what it can give you. To hydrogenate, I had to look that up. What does that mean? Apparently what that means is there's too much carbon dioxide, and what we do is we add hydrogen to it, like by breathing and just living. So nobody's excited about this? It doesn't fill you with deep meaning and purpose, and you go, oh, finally, it doesn't ring true? Oh. Now, that's one way to look at the world, I suppose. And like I said, when I was in high school, I thought, okay, fine, great, I love it. That's what they taught me, and that's what I just soaked in. And why did you think? Why would somebody like that so much? Well, here's what that means. Here's what it meant to me: is I have a bunch of homework I have to do, and I can choose to do this homework, or I can choose to not do this homework. Me choosing to do the homework or not do the homework doesn't seem to really affect anything, and the atoms that make me up is just bouncing around one way or the other. I don't have any really determination. I can't tell atoms how they're going to bounce around. So I'll just not do the homework. And if anybody asks me why not, I'll just say, well, that's what my atoms wanted to do. I don't know. And it was very freeing for me because it meant, I can do whatever I want to do. I can say whatever I want to say. I can treat people however I want to treat people, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I was doing well throughout school, and I was a relatively smart kid. I was a geeky kid, and everything was going good. And high school is the place where you're supposed to prepare for the rest of your life and get a plan together. And maybe you're going to go to college. Maybe you get a good job. Maybe you start working. And what happened to me the second I joined in with this worldview, it took a nosedive. And for years afterwards, I just kind of squandered my life. And I remember laying in my apartment by myself, all alone in my apartment with all my stuff. Several times I did this, laying on the floor, looking up at the ceiling, and feeling absolutely dead inside. Just feeling absolute desperation and hopelessness. And I never once considered, up to that point, you know what, maybe, Chad, maybe you were given a bad pair of glasses. Maybe the problem was you were looking at things through the wrong set of glasses, and you need to take those off and exchange them for something else, because this isn't working out for you. Now, the other worldview, I said there's two major worldview rivals to God's worldview. That's one of them. The other worldview around says, you and I, just make up our own purpose. We make up our own worth, our own value. We give our own lives meaning. And this worldview, I think, is the predominant worldview of the day. We are told over and over again to look inside yourself and decide whatever you want to do. You give your life meaning. And people will say, the gospel of this worldview says this is going to solve all your problems. Salvation can only be found by you looking inside and deciding your own fate, your own value, your own meaning, your own worth. And we've been trying to this worldview on for several decades now, and the consensus seems to be everybody is miserable. It doesn't appear to be working out, this gospel of, yay, you, yes, the world is meaningless, but you get to make up your own meaning. And people seem to try it for a little bit, and then they feel that something doesn't seem to be working out quite right. Gallup is one of the, I don't know if you're familiar with Gallup, but they're a big organization. They do a lot of polling across the nation and across the world. And last week they published their latest poll. And one of the things Gallup does is every year they've been asking people, how would you rate your mental health? And so from decades ago, they've been asking this question, how would you rate your mental health? And people rate it. And then next year they ask the same thing. So in 2019, they asked people, how would you rate your mental health? They rated it. And then they asked people in 2020, how would you rate your mental health? And I want to share with you, this is their published findings. Do we have that? I don't know if you can see that. And you can't see it. I got my little laser pointer here. So 2019, 2020, every single category, no matter you break it out by gender, by political affiliation, Republican, Independent, Democrat, by race, by marital status, by age group, by household income. This probably shouldn't surprise you. But every single number in 2020 is lower than it was in 2019. Everybody's mental health has declined. You can see the change here. -8, -10 points, -15, -11, -1. Oh, here's one. I'm sorry. This one says +4. There's apparently, of all the groups, they're all negative except one. There's one group that reports having a better mental health in 2020 than they did in 2019. Who is this group of people? I'm sorry you can't read this, but I'll read it out to you. Let's look over here. Oh, people who attend religious service weekly. People who attend religious service weekly is the only group of people in America who report having better mental health in 2020 than in 2019. Now, I thought this was interesting too. There's people who attend religious service nearly weekly or monthly. Theirs is down 12 points. Here's people who attend religious service. They attend it, but they attend it seldomly. Theirs is down 13 points. It seems to be that it's a weekly, regular attendance of religious service is the thing that is bringing the mental health actually up from 2019 to 20. Kind of counterintuitive, right? But that's not my numbers. That's Gallup's. You can look all that. You can Google that. Feel free to Google that. Why does it seem to be that this worldview of the world, this gospel of the world that says make your own worth, just decide whatever you want to be valuable, and then that's valuable for you, why is that unsatisfying? Well, there could be any number of reasons, but the big reason is this, and I'm not sure why people don't seem to realize it. If you just make up your value, if you just make up your worth, if you just make up your own purpose, what that means is all that stuff is made up, right? It's in the very phrase, well, just make up your own purpose. Well, that's not satisfying. Why? Because it's made up. It's fake. It's not real. And the world knows it's not real. The world knows there's no purpose. They just say, well, do the best you can and make it up, and then you'll be satisfied. And they think, wait, I'm an adult. I'm not interested in playing pretend. And something that's pretend, something that's fake, cannot save me. It cannot satisfy me. And the numbers bear this out. Everybody is feeling this pressure. The best we can tell you, the world says, is just pretend that it's real. Pretend your purpose is real, and that will make you feel better. Well, come on now. We all know that that's not going to satisfy. One of the things we just do as we're making up our own value, we're making up our own worth, and what lots of people do is we're making up our own worldview as we go along. We're cobbling together little pieces from the world as we're putting our glasses together. And we take a little bit of here. Well, I like this here. I like that meme. Oh, that's a nice meme. I'll make that a part of my philosophy. And I'm a Christian, so I like a lot of what Jesus says. And I'll take a little piece of Jesus here. Take a little piece of Jesus here. And, I like what my coworker said the other day. I'm going to take that. And now that's going to be. And we put together these glasses. And we do it when we do it, calling ourselves Christian and looking at Jesus, we think we're doing Jesus a favor by taking a little piece of Jesus. Say, well, I got a little piece of Jesus. Doesn't that count for something? Jesus is not interested in you taking a little piece of him and adding him into your worldview. That's not what Jesus came for. Thomas Jefferson, was he our third president? I can't see. Are you guys still out there? Does anybody know what? He was a president, right? Second president. No, John Adams was the second president. Third president. Hamilton. Okay, forget. Thomas Jefferson. I'm getting mixed up. Everybody knows Thomas Jefferson. We don't know exactly who he is, but we know him. One of the things he did, and he maybe infamously did, was he published his own Bible, the Jefferson Bible. Have you ever heard the Jefferson Bible? You can order the Jefferson Bible on Amazon. I don't do it, but you can if you want to. Go ahead and Google this. You feel free to Google my sermons. I'm not making this stuff up. What's the Jefferson Bible? Thomas Jefferson looked at the Bible through his glasses, and he said, I like some of this stuff, but I don't like a lot of this other stuff. And so he literally took scissors to the Bible and cut this part out, cut this part out, cut this part out, and he took tape, literally took tape, and pasted it back together, or taped it back together, and he ended up with what he called the Jefferson Bible. And when he looked at his own Bible, he said, now this is good stuff. And lo and behold, what does Jesus end up looking like after Thomas Jefferson did that? He ends up looking just like Thomas Jefferson. He says the same thing Thomas Jefferson says. He does the same things that Thomas Jefferson would do. That's what happens to Jesus when we look at Jesus through our lenses. We're not doing him any favors. I think we have a lot of Jefferson Christians out there that we don't even realize we're doing it. But we come to Jesus, we say, that part's a little uncomfortable. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And lo and behold, you're left with the Jesus that looks just like you. And just like the rest of the worldviews of the world, he has no power to save because that's not the real Jesus. That's not what Jesus came for. He didn't come for you to cut him up and paste him together. He came to give you a different worldview. He came to change not just how you look at things, he came to change your worldview. He came to give you a new set of glasses. We look at God through our worldview, but if we're only looking at God through our worldview, we're not seeing the real thing. Now, I know we like our little glasses. We love these things. But Jesus, maybe we think Jesus came to help me with my glasses, to fix it up, maybe to adjust my prescription a little bit. No, Jesus came to break your glasses. I know you like them. I know you use them to get through life. I know you look at the whole world through them and you hardly ever take them off. But Jesus came to break those things. He wants to give you something new. Christmas, the real Christmas, explodes all the other worldviews of the world. Christmas reiterates the fact that we were created in the image of God, like it said in the book of Genesis. But even more than that, Christmas says you are worth so much, you are valued so highly that God actually became human. He didn't become a blade of grass or a cockroach or a star or whatever. He became human. It's an amazing thing. John Donne, the poet, wrote this as he marveled about Christmas, as he thought about what it meant. He said, it means much that man was made like God long before. It means much that we were created in the image of God. It means much that man was made like God long before. But now that God should be made a man, that means much more. There's something very powerful about Christmas that explodes all the other worldviews. It puts humanity at a place that no other worldview says. Yes, in creation, we were created with worth and we were created with a purpose, but Christmas says you are worth infinite love. You are worth so much more than you can possibly imagine. And more importantly, what Christmas says, our worth does not come from ourselves or what somebody might say about us. Our worth comes from Him. That's where worth has to come from. It has to come from outside. Purpose, meaning, worth, and value can't come from inside. It has to come from outside. I went to school for computer programming as I was trying to figure out my life. I wrote a lot of computer programs, and I told you I was a geeky guy. And the thing about computer programs is, what gives the program meaning? What gives it purpose? It's the person who's writing the program. The program is not supposed to sit around and think, I wonder what I'm supposed to do here. I wonder what purpose I have in life. No, it can only have purpose if the Creator gives it purpose. And we all know that's how the world works. But for some reason, when we come to us, we think it's differently. But when we look out at the world, every single thing that has purpose has been given purpose from a creator. The purpose of a seed doesn't come from inside the seed. The purpose of a seed is to grow into a plant or a tree or whatever, but it doesn't decide that. What's the purpose of a car? Well, the car doesn't decide that. The purpose of a car was given to it by whoever created the car, and its purpose is to drive around or whatever the car does. It's been given to it from the outside. We can even look in ourselves and see inside ourselves. What's the purpose of the heart? Well, the heart has a purpose, right? Its purpose is to pump blood for something else. What's the purpose of your lungs? To breathe. What's the purpose of your stomach? To digest. It doesn't decide these things. It's given purpose from the outside. And yet, for some reason, the world thinks when it comes to ourselves, well, you don't really have a purpose. You just figure out whatever your purpose is. No, that's not how the world works, and we know that's not how it works. Everything that has purpose and meaning has to have that purpose and meaning come to it from the outside, from a creator, from someone who designed it, from someone who has a goal for it, a meaning for it, a value for it. And the good news about Christmas is God came crashing right into our world to not only give us purpose, but to show us that we are infinitely loved and valued. And that purpose comes from him. None of the gospels of the world have any way to free us. But though this is counterintuitive, the gospel of Jesus Christ is the only one that satisfies. I say it's counterintuitive because what the gospel of Jesus says is what nothing in the world says. The gospel of Jesus says, hey, it's not about you. It's not up to you. This world doesn't rest on your shoulders. You don't find meaning in yourself. You don't find purpose in yourself. We are here for him. We are not here for ourselves or any other reason except for him. I remember driving in my car realizing this after I was in my 20s when I came to Christ, and realizing that Pastor Michael has to, I'm not offending you, am I, Pastor Michael? He has to meet with his church too, so just so you know, hopefully I'm not offending him. I remember driving in my car when I was in my 20s and realizing this, and realizing there's a king out there who I've been neglecting. There's a king out there that I want to give my life to. And I was driving down, it was Argentine Road, wherever Argentine Road's at. It was a miserable winter. It was kind of sleety. All the trees were bare. And as I was driving down the road, I said, God, I want you to be my king. And when I put that piece of the puzzle into place, it felt like all of a sudden the world just came alive. It felt like I was living in black and white before this time, but now everything is in color. Now everything makes sense because I'm knocking off this nonsense about me not having any purpose. I'm knocking off this nonsense about me trying to figure out what my own purpose is. And I came into the servanthood of a king. And that's where our position should be. God gave me a new set of glasses that day. He said, one of the things you're going to have to do, Chad, is get rid of these old glasses and put on my glasses. And more importantly than that, he invited me into a new kingdom where he was king and I was not king. And that's a wonderful place to be. It's very tiring to try to be the king and the Lord of your own life. Well, what does it look like in our own lives to change our glasses? To lay down your worldview in submission to him, very practically speaking, rather than just try to fit him into our kingdom and in our worldview. Well, it looks like, first of all, recognizing that we need to see things differently. It's not about us trying to make sense of God through our lenses. It's about putting on his lenses and putting on a different worldview. And when things come your way that contradict or go against what Jesus says about you, you throw it out. You say, wait, no, that's something that's an invasion of a different worldview. That's an invasion of a different kingdom, and I'm not living in that kingdom. And we have to teach ourselves to get rid of that. The Bible says, take every thought captive. Make sure you're not letting in thoughts from other worldviews come in and invade and infest your brain. Because the longer you let those thoughts from other worldviews about yourself infest your brain, the deeper kind of trenches they make in your brain, and the harder it is to think differently about yourself. But start now. Start thinking differently about yourself. I remember, I'll close with this, my wife, and maybe I told this story before, I can't remember. My wife loves to go antique shopping. She goes to the antique store, and for some reason, we have two different sets of glasses when it comes to antiques. Crystal sees very wonderful, beautiful things, and I see I know a lot of you like antiques, so I won't say what I see. But I don't see much. And she'll come home with these things, and she'll say, look at this. And I'll say, okay, you've got a different set of glasses. And our marriage is happy when I just don't say anything, so it's fine. She comes home one day with this big rusty sign, and it says eat on it, E-A-T, in big letters. And she says, now look at this. And I said, wow. They've charged money for this? I don't know how to understand how this works. But I said, well, where are you going to put it? She says, right here in the kitchen. And she attaches it right to the wall of the kitchen. And I think in my head, I remember, I don't say this out loud for the sake of many things, but I think in my head, this sign looks terrible. And it looks terrible, especially in our kitchen. The colors are different than the kitchen. And I think I did say, does that sign fit in with stuff? But I didn't get any response or anything like that. So I said, okay, well, whatever. So I go to work, and the next day I come back, and the centerpiece of our kitchen table is changed out to a different centerpiece that matches the sign that she brought in. Oh, okay. I come home from work, go to work, come home, and all the kind of the other antiques and decorations that didn't fit the sign are now gone from the kitchen. Well, I come home the next day, and there's new decorations that match the sign. I go to work, come home the next day. The walls are painted a color that matches the sign. And I remember thinking, I hope she thinks that I match the sign, because apparently that's what's deciding things around here. Jesus in our lives needs to be like that sign. When Jesus comes in, it's not that you shove him into something, into some dingy closet and say, well, I'll have you with the rest of all this stuff. No, Jesus has to be the centerpiece. And everything in your life that does not fit around this centerpiece, every decoration or bauble or whatever you have in your life that doesn't fit around Jesus needs to be changed so that things do fit around Jesus. That's what it's like to live with Jesus as your centerpiece, to live with Jesus as your set of glasses, to live with Jesus as your worldview, where everything changes in accordance with him. And when that's done, the world starts looking different. You start seeing things through Jesus' eyes. You start understanding things through Jesus' eyes. You start seeing yourself through Jesus' eyes. And that's a very beautiful thing. It's going to be different for some of us, difficult for some of us, especially when it comes to us, because we've been living with these trash worldviews from the world that have just trashed and done havoc to our self-esteem and how we view ourselves. We either think way too highly of ourselves or we think way too low of ourselves. Jesus comes to set things straight. No, you are not God, but yes, you are worth infinite love. And you have infinite value and infinite meaning. Now, many of you may be thinking, well, yeah, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel worthy. I don't feel like I'm loved. But what you're doing is you're just bringing the value judgments of some other worldview into Jesus' worldview. In Jesus' worldview, it's not about how you feel. Yes, you may not feel loved. Yes, you may not feel worthy. But listen. How you feel about it does not determine your worth or how much you're loved. Your love and your worth comes from God. You are loved because God is worthy. You have value because God gives you value. You have purpose because God gives you purpose. You say, I don't feel it. No, that's the other worldview. Get rid of that worldview. It's not about your feeling. You are loved because he loves you. And we need to put on those glasses. Continue putting on those glasses over and over again. This is the story of Christmas. The story of a new king coming in, not so you can fit him into your kingdom, but that so that he can give you a kingdom to be a part of, so that you would see yourself through his eyes rather than seeing him through your eyes, and seeing yourself even through his eyes. And that's a wonderful thing. Amen, church? Well, let's go to him in prayer and submit ourselves to him. Lord, we take off our glasses at this time, Lord. Everything that we tell ourselves about ourselves, tell ourselves about the world, to tell ourselves about other people, tell ourselves about you, Lord, that we take all those preconceptions away and we offer ourselves to your truth, Lord. Let your truth just overflow us. Fill us up, Lord, with your love and your peace and your joy. Help us to see that you came and became one of us. You raised humanity to a level of dignity we can't possibly imagine, that the God of the universe would become one of us, and you did it for us, God. You did it for me. You did it for me. God, you did it for me. Help me, Lord, to see myself through your eyes rather than the other way around, Lord. Give us your way of looking at things, Lord. And as we leave this place, Lord, I pray that we would be committed to cast out the lies of the world and be committed to look, not getting new information, Lord, but looking at things through your eyes, looking at things through your glasses, Lord. Would you help us to understand what that means for us? Would you help us in our day-to-day lives to speak truth to us, Lord? Help us to understand, help us to discern the voice of the Holy Spirit apart from every other voice in this world, Lord. And we give you permission today to break our glasses if they need to be broken, Lord. Help us to see through your eyes. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, you're dismissed. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming again. We're doing Christmas Eve service on Christmas Eve at 6:30. If you would like to drop off presents Monday or Tuesday, see Pastor Lisa before you leave, and we'll get you joined in with us. I appreciate it.